Hey everybody, I'm Katallina, and today we're here to talk about episode 1 of Wistoria, Wand and Sword. If I'm being totally honest, this is one of the shows where I was kind of on the fence about it when I was considering whether or not I wanted to add it to my watch list. And it was one of the shows I knew I was going to be keeping the most eye on to see whether or not it would actually gel with me as I started to watch it. And for the first half of the show, I was really neutral. I do have a key issue with this show that we'll be talking about later, but something happened halfway through the show that completely flipped it on its head and that absolutely has my interest. And that would be when our protagonist, Will, says, "Do I have any obligation to actually save you?" What a fantastic question for our hero to actually be asking, given the context of how he has been treated by the boy who is in peril at the moment that he says this during the show. It's really refreshing to see something like this happen because Will seemed like a nice guy going into this. He seemed like your average, typical hero character number 4321, you know what I mean? But in this moment, his whole personality shifts, and while he does ultimately reach the conclusion that he should indeed save the red-headed jerkbag who is actually trying to plot a way to get him removed from the school by killing the thing he needed to get his credits, he didn't do it because I am a noble person, I am of good faith, I am decent. No. He did it because he believes that the girl he has made the promise to as a child is hypothetically watching down on him, and it's her belief in him that makes him decide that he actually wants to save this person, even though this person has constantly bullied him and, as far as we've seen as viewers, been making his life a living hell. And it was incredibly gratifying watching him actually save this little prick, even though I didn't have a great deal of sympathy for the kid, because the look on his face when he was so scared and he thought he was going to get his ass handed to him, and then the look of shock as he realized that it's Will rushing in and saving him, was absolutely priceless, because this guy had been looking at Will like Will was dog shit that had clung to the bottom of his shoe, and suddenly in that moment he felt as insignificant as he behaved, and he got exactly what he deserved insofar as that he finally is fully aware of the fact that Will does have a skill that is absolutely amazing and that he is never going to be able to match in 1,000 years. Is that skill magic? No, but when you can cut through enemies like they're hot butter, as though you're Cyan using sword runes instead of just using magic, who the heck needs magic for that? Now, to be objective and fair, of course, we don't know the full rules and the full use and the full purpose of what these magia vander that Will wants to become actually are, and whether or not there's anything a swordsman would actually be able to do in that regard. But his determination and the fact that he has obviously spent so much time and effort honing these skills, paired with the fact that he has such an amazing photographic memory for memorizing enemy patterns and movements, is really incredible and will be a really fun thing to watch. I think the show is going to lend itself to a lot of really awesome fight choreography, and I'm absolutely here for it because the visuals are stunning. As far as the thing that was bothering me in the storytelling, the one major gripe that I have with everything going on here is, why is this kid at this school? How did it happen? It's not that I'm saying it couldn't happen. What I'm saying instead is that the story, at least so far, hasn't really explained to us how he was permitted to actually be here. Is he permitted to be here because anyone can go and try their hand at being at this school and can apply? Is he here because what he's trying to do, getting through on credits from theory and from dungeons but not from practical spellcraft, has been done before? That seems unlikely based off of the professor that he was talking to earlier in the show. However, said professor does seem to be giving him advice and knowledge on when to go into the dungeon to be able to correct his credits so he won't end up being failed or expelled, at the same time being concerned for his safety. It's a real tightrope for this guy. I thought that was actually really interesting, and I think that it'll be fun to see just what kind of dynamic the two have and how potentially they ended up in the situation they're in now to begin with, because was this teacher always supportive of him, or is this something where the teacher has discovered that he has the abilities that he does and that he earned that respect? I also wonder, now that both the redheaded guy and the dark-haired teacher who harassed him at the start of the episode have seen what he's capable of doing with a sword, whether that's going to alter their opinion of him any. I don't think it's going to make a drastic difference, because these people, I think, almost view magic like it's a religion from what I saw of their behavior and of the way that they were separating people who use magic from people who can't use magic. So we'll see. It would also make for more problems with plotting, because you'd be taking away two core aspects of a conflict engine. I'm not saying these characters couldn't alter their opinion or gain some form of grudging respect over time, but to instantly throw them away, at least in my opinion, would be a mistake. Another thing that I think is worth noting about this story and the way that the characters are behaving is that we basically saw the red-haired guy go down into this dungeon like he was Draco Malfoy going down with Crabbe and Goyle. And we saw the two hench characters that I'm kind of poking fun at here literally get wrecked by this creature that Will ended up taking out. Like, they got absolutely demolished. And I don't think there's any coming back from that. I wonder if that is to try and tell us that there is going to be consequences to the story because someone died, or whether that is to tell us there likely isn't going to be consequences to the main characters, because the characters we lost were obvious side characters, to the point where they were actually talking about the fact that the other guy is literally considered an elite. All in all, I'm mainly interested in the fact that Will doesn't seem nearly as much of a pushover as I initially was concerned that he would be. I'm still concerned about some of the world building and some of the rules and some of what's going on in that regard, but the fight choreography looks absolutely lovely, and the characters were passable enough that I'm definitely willing to give this another episode. I still don't know entirely how I feel about it, but I'm definitely interested in continuing to give it a chance. So, what did you guys think of the first episode of Wistoria, Wand and Sword? I'd love to know, so drop a comment below, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. See you later. Bye!